Hello everybody, it's April, it's Cardstock Carnival time, and it is drawing to a close. We have a couple more days. All your orders for April specials would have to be in by April 30th at midnight, and that is just 2 days away. So I thought I would jump on quick and just talk about the Cardstock Carnival special for a moment and what makes our cardstock special, and just show you a few examples. And if you have any questions, I would be glad to answer them. If you just post in the comments, or you can get in touch with me directly, either way. So the Cardstock Carnival is basically a special on all of our cardstock. Differing amounts of percentage off depending on what you're interested in. What's represented here are the single color packs. So each one is at a 15% discount. It regularly is $17.95. It's on sale for $14.95. And the White Daisy is on sale for $10.95. So a great deal. I'm going to show you the second half of the flyer. Close to My Heart has made these bundles of the colors. You're going to get 4 colors in each bundle, 6 sheets of each, and those are at a 20% discount. So if you have favorites, they're probably represented there in a bundle. And then the deal of the century is, of course, the Cardstock Carnival Super Bundle. You get 7 sheets of each one of our colors. So that is a huge amount of cardstock. It would be 30% off if you purchase the bundle. So $174.95 for 7 sheets of each color. And then there is a special too with some die cuts already cut for you. All you do is just punch them out. They have glossy coating on one side, that UV coating and kind of a wash on them, and then just the regular color on the other side. And as you can see, they come in a variety of colors. So those are the little die cuts, and they're all represented there. You can go to my website and check it out and see exactly what you're going to get. So that is the flyer, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about our cardstock. So the first thing you should know is there are 40 colors, but the cardstock has 2 hues, the true color, and then it has a little bit lighter shade on the back. So when you really buy a pack of cardstock in one color, you're actually getting 2. Front and the back are different. The only one that's not true for is black. Okay, we're gonna start out. A lot of you have been buying cardstock. I have seen this month. That's great, thank you. And now maybe you're wondering what to do with it, or what you can do with it. So our cardstock is white core, and the first thing I'm going to show you is just scissor distressing. It's a very simple technique. You just take the edge of your scissors, or if you have a distressing tool, that would be fine too, and run your scissors along. And really what it's just doing is exposing the white core. So you can see it very easily. You can do this a little bit for just a little color accent there, just a little, or you can, some people really like to distress their paper almost till it rips. You can keep at it, and you can create that white edge on the paper. Very nice. So that's scissor distressing. And then there's tearing. And I like to tear towards myself. So I just grab the edge and rip the paper. It's going to be a nice look around for a photo mat, for a picture to be against there. I love it when the paper, the background and texture paper, has white in it, and then you use the colored cardstock with it ripped like that. It's a really pretty look. If you don't like it so wide, so you would want to take it and just rip it a little bit more closer to your hand that's holding the paper, and you'll have a little bit less. If you are trying to make a certain shape, you can also use a water brush. And what you can do is just start with the water brush, just start making the shape just over and over and over. I'm not sure if that shows up on the camera, but just go over and over and over and over the same line. It kind of weakens the paper, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And then I like to just kind of roll over it so it's nice and wet. And that also will allow you to tear, and it'll allow you to tear where you put the water. So if you wanted a specific shape, maybe you wanted to make, you know, a letter or something, and you wanted to do that, you would just keep coloring with the water brush. And then I just run over the ridge to get it really wet. And then again, it just gives you kind of a mark so that you can tear. And you can see it is a little bit of a different look. It's kind of a softer look than the just tearing it by hand. So that is tearing. So we did scissor distressing and tearing either wet or dry. There's another technique we can do, and it is rolling. Some people call it rolling or just folding. And I take something that's round. I have a little sanding tool that's round. You can use a pencil, your piercing tool, anything like that, just to get the edge of the paper rolling a little bit. And then when it's folded over a little bit, you can roll it even more. You can make that as dimensional as you want. So usually what I do is I roll it like that, and then I push it down a little bit. You can put some glue under there if you really want it to stay that shape. And if you want it to be even more pronounced, there's two things you can do. You can either sand it, shows that it's just a little more pronounced, or you can take your ink and you can ink it. It's going to give it a more pronounced look when you roll it. Very, very dimensional. Okay, so that is rolling. Trying to keep all my things out of your way here. So we talked a little bit about sanding on there. There's a lot of techniques that we can do with sanding, and I'm going to bring in just a couple pieces of a card that we're going to make, that I'm going to make for you right here. And I just have just regular fine sandpaper from like Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever. Nothing fancy. There are companies that sell fancier things, but I just find this works really well. You can get a tool to put this on if you're really sanding a big area. But I'll show you first on a little scrap what's going to happen when we sand, just rubbing. It's going to take the color right off of the paper, and it's going to expose the white core. So there's really nothing more to it than that. And again, it's one of those techniques. If you want it a little bit, you just stop when you like it. If you like it really, you know, sanding most of the color off, you can keep at it. So that's how it's going to look when it is sanded. And that does create a little bit of powder, like, so you want to be on a work mat of some kind. So then it's sanded. You can also take the sandpaper and do a directional sand. So you can see those, I hope it's showing up on there. You can see those lines. So you can make like one pattern, or you can even do a pattern like that and then put some other horizontal lines. Again, the more you sand, the more you're going to see. So if you want some kind of a pattern in the background, you'll just keep working until you have that pattern. And why would you do that? I'm just going to show you, I have Harbor ink, and we're going to make this on the card. I just pushed that little powder off. It's a great way to accent something, either a stamped image, or you might put a little sentiment over there, something like that. But do you see the difference when I stamp with Harbor ink on the paprika paper there, and then I do it here where I've sanded off the color? A totally different look on that paper. So that's kind of a neat technique to sand. And now we're going to create a very simple card, but it uses one of my favorite sanding techniques. This piece of paper, I have just taken a piece of our black cardstock, and you can actually make faux leather paper with our cardstock. It looks great with the dark browns and the black, but you can do this with any color paper. It wouldn't have to be those colors, but I just love it because it really looks like leather when it's done. So to do this, you just run your cardstock under the faucet quickly. Don't let it soak the paper, just run it through and let the water drop off, and then ball it up in a little ball, just like this. Ball it up, open it up, and do it again, and keep doing it until you achieve the look you want. I think I rolled this one up in a ball 3 times. So this started out as black. You do have to be very careful. It does rip, just like we did with the water brush on the paper. This will rip if you're not careful. Some people love to use a piece like that. It does expose the white core again, but I'm gonna use a piece from up here, and we are gonna sand, and it's gonna look like worn leather. It looks, I hope you can see, it looks pretty leathery already, but I'm just gonna take this and we're just gonna sand a little bit. And what's gonna happen is it's gonna make it look like those ridges are kind of white. So it kind of even looks more leathery. And you can actually make this kind of look like marble if you keep at it. And you can add a little color with ink if you want to when you're doing that. Just getting the little dust off of there. So I'm actually going to use this piece on a card, and I'm going to bring my trimmer in to cut off what I need. I need 2 3/4 by 3 1/4. And I don't want this to be, I don't want this to be such a blunt edge. So I'm actually gonna take the sandpaper and I'm just gonna sand the edges a little bit, just so it softens it up, just so there's not that harsh black edge to it. So that just kind of softened it up a little bit. And then I'm using papers from Hey Handsome, which obviously is kind of a masculine looking line. And this is the stripe paper, and I did edge it, I did sponge it with Harbor ink. So that's gonna be on there like that. And this is a piece of paprika. Also, I sponged it with Harbor. Harbor is kind of like a blue-gray. So I'm just gonna stick that under there, a little white border around the outside of the card. I hope my head is not blocking so you can't see. So there's our base. Now we're gonna use this piece that looks like leather. Masculine cards are sometimes kind of challenging for me, but I like this leathery looking paper. So I'm just gonna set that right on there. I think I like it up there. And then I have the saying from the Hey Handsome scrapbooking stamp set. This one says looking good, and I really hope you can see. When I inked that up, I didn't just pounce it on the pad. I actually dragged that across the pad in a motion like this, and it gives it a really cool look on there. I've already put some, again, that's Harbor ink. I've already put some thin 3D foam tape on there to stick that to my piece. So I just peel that, and I'm just gonna stick that right in the middle. And then I did cut out the little camera, so I'm just gonna put some glue on the back of that. I just stamped that and fussy cut it so that our stamps is looking good. So I'm gonna add the camera on there. And then just to show you like we did here, I'm just gonna take a little bit here and just sand a tiny little bit here and tiny little bit, oh, that's my bijou, everybody. Tiny little bit here and here. And then I'm gonna take the stars from that same stamp set, and I'm gonna put one here, and I'm gonna use the other little star from the set, up here and then here. So you can see I sanded that and then I added that little stamped bit. And I think that's pretty good for a masculine card. I don't like to do tons of embellishments on masculine cards, but I think that that leather look cardstock adds to it. So I think that's just fine. So that is, again, making our cardstock into almost like a faux leather type look or a marble or granite type look. So that, I'll leave that sitting there. And then I have one more example. This is actually embossed. So you would need like an embossing folder. This is the Butterfly Slimline. It's in this catalog now. Comes with the embossing folder and 2 stencils to do some coloring, some stenciling on the butterflies. This is the card, and I've already done a lot of this. I did emboss it, and then I sanded all the raised butterflies. So I've got one left to do, so you can see it. I also did that around the edge, just like I did with this leather paper. I sanded around the edge so that it looked a little bit softer. I wanted that soft look. So this butterfly up here has not been done yet. It is absolutely so easy. There's nothing more than just rubbing your sandpaper. It's gonna find that line of where that butterfly was embossed, and he's gonna show up really well. And it kind of softens it. I kind of like that look, that distressed look. So don't let it worry you that it, tears up the paper a tiny little bit. And then if you're not familiar with these stencils, again, this is the embossing folder and stencils. So if you're not familiar with how that works, you simply set that on there, kind of in the inside of the butterfly. I'm using just black with a sponge. You can use the blending brushes. You can use a sponge. You can use a sponge dauber. Anything like that will work. So this is stenciled where the butterfly is. Simply run around on there a little bit to get some color. I didn't do a ton of color. I just kind of did more of a soft look. When you pull it up, the butterfly will have the little black on there. So some sanding on there, and then some little coloring with the stencil. I think that's just about everything I wanted to tell you. You can also do tone on tone stamping and coloring, because our pads come in the same color as the paper. So if you want to add detail to a piece of cardstock, you can either edge that cardstock with the same color. Sorry about Bijou. You can either edge that with the same color, or you could take a stamp. I will use that little star again. And you can stamp, and that's called tone on tone. Paprika ink on paprika cardstock. So there you have it. You have a lot of different techniques we've talked about. We talked about scissor distressing, tearing, both wet and dry, folding or rolling, and then you can always, ink that or sand it to make it really show up. A lot of different sanding techniques, dry embossing. This is the fake leather, and then the tone on tone stamping or tone on tone distressing with ink. So Cardstock Carnival, you have till Sunday evening at midnight, Sunday night at midnight, and that will go away. But all of our lovely colors are on sale. And the big deal, these are great bundles in case you have colors you use a ton of, and then the big bundle at 30% off. So go grab them while you can. Hope you have a great weekend. It's supposed to be lousy weather, so I hope you're inside scrapbooking and card making, and hope to see you soon. Thanks so much.